Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If it's your first time viewing my channel, please like, share and subscribe. So on today's class we'll be drafting an hourglass underbust corset. So the video is in two parts, the drafting part and the sewing part. So I was supposed to put it together, but the video is going to be too long. So I have marked out my vertical measurement. So the vertical measurement I marked is my underbust, my navel and my top length. So I didn't mark the rest of the upper part because I'm not going to make use of it. So I placed my tape at my underbust and I left about 3 inches up. So we are not going to be making use of the bust or the shoulder. So I just gave few space up before marking my underbust line. Then I marked my navel line and my top length, which is 22 inches. After doing that, I'm going to place my tape and I'm going to mark my bust span, which is my nipple to nipple divided by 2. I have 7 divided by 2. I have 3.5. I'll mark it at my underbust, my navel, and I also mark it at my top length. Then I'm going to place my rule and I'm going to connect and draw a straight line from my underbust to my top length. After drawing the line, I'm going to use my tape and place my underbust circumference. I'm going to make use of 1.5 inches that. So at my underbust, I'm going to place my tape. My underbust is 28 divided by 4. I have 7 and I'm going to place, after marking the 7, I'm going to add 1.5 inch for the dart intake. So after doing that, I'm going to move ahead to my navel, divide it by 4 and I'm going to add 1.5 inch for that intake. You can also use 2 inches. Sorry, I decided to use 1.5. So at my top length, I'm going to mark my hip. I'm going to place my hip measurement divided by 4 and I'm going to add half. The reason why I'm adding half is in case of cutting out or when sewing out little from that part. So I'm going to connect my lines. But before I connect my line, I'm going to mark my underbust measurements at the top of my drafting paper. So I'll go ahead and connect my lines. After connecting my lines, I'm going to mark my dart intake. So we took 1.5, where we used 1.5 dart. So I'm going to share 1.5 into 2 and I have 0.75. So I'm going to mark 0.75 at one side and I'm going to mark 0.75 at the other side. So at my underbust, I'm also going to share the 1.5 dart and I'm going to mark 0.75 on one side and I'm also going to mark 0.75 at the other side. Then I'm going to take my rule and I'm going to connect, drawing a straight line. So I'm also going to do it at the other side. After drawing it, I'm going to place my rule also and then connect it to my top length. Then I'm going to outline my dart intake with my marker. So just as the name, hourglass corset, so we are trying to achieve an hourglass. So we'll be snatching the navel to get that tiny waist feel. So we'll be snatching 6 inches from the navel or waistline, whichever one you call it, whether waistline or navel. So to do that, you're going to minus 6 inches from your actual navel. So the navel I have is 28. So 28 minus 6, I have 22. 22 I have, I'm just going to keep it aside. Then I'm going to do 28, my actual measurement, divided by 4. I have 7 inches. Then that 22 we got divided by 4, I have 5.5 inches. So I'm going to minus 7, that 5.5 from that 7, which I have 1.5. So that 1.5, we are going to be sharing it at the navel side. So I'll be sharing it on both sides. So I'm going to create a style line. So I'm going to place my tape and find the middle. So I have 4.2, so I'll be sharing it into two. That will be 2.1. I'll mark at my underbust. At my navel I have the same, so I'm just going to share what I have at my navel into two, and I'm going to take my ruler and connect and draw a straight line. Coming to the front part, I'm going to measure what I have and I'm going to divide it by 2. After that, I'm just going to draw a straight line. Your line mustn't be straight. If you want to create a slant style line, you can also do that. I'm just making it very easy. So I'll take my rule and I'm going to connect. So after marking my style lines, I'm going to insert my dart. So we got 1.5 inches dart. So what I'm going to do is to share that 1.5 into 2. So if I share it into 2, I have 0.75. So I'm going to be sharing that 0.75 at each of the style line I created. So one style line I'll share 0.75, the other style line I'm going to share 0.75. So to make sure I successfully share my 0.75, I'm going to fold my tape into 2. Then I'm going to place and mark at one part and I'll mark at the other part. Then I'm going to draw with my ruler connecting to my underbust. I'm going to slant it to my underbust and slant it back down to my top length. After slanting it to my top length, I'm going to go over to the other dart. So I'll go over to the other dart and I'm going to fold my tape, fold my 1.5 into 2 to make sure I get 0.75, and I'm just going to place it and mark it at both sides. So I'll mark the other half on the other part and mark the other half on the other part, and then I'm going to join my dart. So I forgot to mark at this other side, so I'll go ahead and also connect it, forming a diamond dart. I'm going to slant all my darts to my underbust. So after connecting it, I'm just going to use my marker and I'm going to outline my dart so that it will be very visible. So I'm going to place my tape at the underbust line and I'm going to go up by 1 inch. So at that 1 inch I went up, I'm going to go in by half. So the reason why I'm doing this is that I want to create that cup illusion, that corset cup illusion under the bust. So from there I'm just going to trace it. So at this point I'm going to make a curve from there, creating that cup illusion, and I'm going to blend it down to my darts and outline it very well. So after that I'm just going to mark out my darts areas so that you won't be confused about my darts. After marking out my darts, at the end of my pattern I'm going to go up by 1. I'm trying to create this curve at the end, so I'm going to go up by half and I'm going to connect it back to my darts. After doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and use my marker and I'm going to outline it carefully so that it will be very visible. Then I'll make sure I blend in my line and make sure they are matching. So I'm just going to extend that diamond dart at the upper part. So extending the lines up will create a more tightening effect at the under bust. So I'm going to use my marker and outline it back, creating a straight line. Then after doing that, I'm going to mark 2 inches and I'm going to draw a curve and I will connect it down to the down part of my pattern. I will use my marker and I'm going to outline or number my pattern so that I don't get confused. So I will number F1, meaning front 1, front 2, front 3 and front 4. So with that, I'm done with the front pattern. So we'll go ahead and draft the back pattern. So I'm going to draw a straight line. This line is going to serve as my starting point for my back pattern. So from there, I'm going to take all my measurements. I'll place and mark my underbust measurement divided by 4 and add 1.5 inches that. Then go down to my waistline or navel, mark my waistline plus 1.5 inches that. Then at my hip, I'm going to mark my hip divided by 4 plus half inch allowance in case for the darts. So after doing that, I'm just going to take my rule and I'm going to connect with a line. At the waistline or pattern, I'm going to measure what I have and I'm going to divide it into 3. So I have 8.5. So I'm going to mark 3 inches. So after marking 3 inches, I'm going to go ahead and mark another 3 inches. After marking 3 inches, I'm left with 2.5 inches. So also at my underbust line, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to share it into 3. So I'm going to place my tape and get what I have there. So I have 8.5. I'm going to also share it by 3 inches, 3 inches and 2.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and connect and draw a straight line. So at the first tie line, I'm going to mark out the dart intake we took. So I added 1.5 dart intake. So I'm going to mark 0.75 on both sides. While on the second style line that I created, initially we snatched our waist and we got 1.5 inch dart. So we are going to mark that 1.5 inch dart. So we are also going to share it on both sides. At my waistline, I'm going to mark 0.75 on both sides. Then at the upper part, I'm going to mark 0.75 also. So it's not compulsory to mark 0.75 at this part. You're not actually supposed to snatch it. So I just decided to do that so that I'm going to have this tight effect at my back. So I will go ahead and connect all my darts. So I'll go ahead and use my marker and I'm going to mark out all my lines. Then I'll go ahead, place my tape and I'll mark 2 inches and I'll use my French curve and I will connect. Then use my marker and I will draw it out very well so that it will be visible. Then outline the other parts that I did not outline. I'll go ahead and place my tape at my underbust and go up by 1 and I'm going to connect. So from that place, I'm going to draw my line and I'm going to connect back to my pattern. I'm first going to use my pencil to draw it out to make sure the shape I have is okay before I'm going to go ahead and use my marker and outline. After outlining, I'm going to place my tape at my waist. I'll go in by half So I'm trying to do a back tightening so that the back will be well relaxed. I'm going to connect it or slant it to the upper part and slant it back to the down part. So I'm going to use my my marker, and I'm going to outline my pattern. After outlining my pattern, the next thing I'm going to do is to number my pattern. So I'm going to number it B1, meaning back 1, then B2, back 2, and back 3. So after doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and cut my pattern, but I'm just going to blend in my line first before cutting. So I'll go ahead and cut my pattern. So I was supposed to attach the sewing part of this tutorial to this video, but it's going to be very long. So I'm going to drop the second part of the video, and it's very detailed, so watch out, because I have a lot of joining to do for the sewing part, and it might be very confusing doing it at once. So with this, we have come to the end of the tutorial. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Drop your comments at the comment section. Thank you. And I'll also be dropping the second part of the video very soon, so watch out.